being a business founder or a entrepreneur requires a certain level of passion, a certain level of dedication that can't easily be switched off.
Yeah.
And that line is very blurred between work and life and home life and whatever else. I always say that, my business is one of my babies as well. So there's a great deal of pride in seeing the successes, in seeing it do the things that it does, in growing, in employing more people, the new innovations, etc. And that doesn't become work anymore. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're not working. You're following a passion.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock.
How do you deal with stress? How do you handle that?
Coping mechanisms that I have is I go for a run.
Manage stress by obviously being moments like this. Directly saying I'm going off the clock.
Just even a night out.
I'm listening to my favorite music. I go into one of the studios at the gym and I dance.
Sip cocktails and rest and just do nothing.
I ground myself spiritually.
The right amount of stress is good.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Clock. We have a really interesting guest, but before we get into it, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and engage on our channel. I don't want to steal our guest's thunder, so I'm going to let him do his own introduction in true Off the Clock fashion. So you can take it away.
Wow. Pleasure to be here. My name is Ridwan Lakhana. I'm the CEO and co-founder of what's become a family business that we started 25 years ago. I'm a husband, father, son, sibling, friend, but I think most importantly, I'm just another South African making my way through the South African landscape.
Well, that's really nice. Okay, but before we start...
with his father.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
Before we start and get into the actual interview, I was thinking maybe we start with an icebreaker. And this icebreaker is particularly on tissue production.
Sure.
So this is 2 truths and a lie. So you have to guess which one is the lie.
Right.
And I hope it's hard because as someone who's not in the industry, it's all sounding tough for me. But
let's go for it. Let's hear this
I really hope it's hard.
You're going to test my skills and technical expertise here.
Yes. So, okay. Statement 1 is premium soft toilet paper tissue gets its loft and thickness from a manufacturing process called through air drying or TAD.
Okay.
Second statement, the creping process mechanically wrinkles the tissue paper on a massive drying cylinder to give it stretch and softness.
That's true.
And the third statement, okay, you didn't answer the first one.
There's more to it than just true or false, but yeah.
Okay. And then the last statement is industrial tissue paper is made exclusively from 100% virgin wood pulp because recycled fibers are legally banned from hygiene products.
That's false.
Okay.
That's false.
Yes.
Do you still want the answer on the first one? It might take the whole interview. No, so there's different processes, but through air drying is something that's not very popular in South Africa. There's a limited number of companies globally that actually make the product. The through air dried or TAD paper that we have in SA is actually imported from other sources, and it is one of the things that does give those characteristics to paper, but not the only one.
Okay, so
partially true?
Partially true, partially a lie.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Dad, I'll hand over to you to kick us off.
Yeah.
I think I passed.
Yeah, you did.
Ridwan, again, thank you very much for making the time to feature on Off the Clock. Off the Clock is not about us, it's about you, the guest. And I just want to zoom into you. When you introduced yourself, you said you co-founder sibling, businessman, father, parent, and you listed a lot of titles you're carrying, which means you're married, right?
That's correct, yes.
With children. How
With
many?
children. 3 kids. My daughter just turned 18 last December. She's started university this year. My first son is 15 in high school currently, and the youngest son, 10 years old, in grade 5 now.
And you're still going to add more?
Oh, no, I'm done. I'm too old for more kids. Now we'll wait for grandkids when they get here.
Okay. And we always ask our guests about how they met their partners. I mean, being an Indian, don't kill me for stereotype.
It's probably going to be there, but yeah, go for it.
How did you meet your partner?
So my wife and I met many, many years ago, a long time before we actually got involved with each other. We met at a wedding.
Okay.
So my first cousin married her first cousin, and we met at the wedding events. And then sort of, I was young, I was 17 at the time. She's a year younger, so she was 16. We were nowhere in any place to get married or anything, and there was never any thought of it at that point in time. And then we sort of reconnected.
But you just had a feeling?
No, I didn't really have a feeling at that point, but like I said, it wasn't something on the mind at the time. But a few years later, we reconnected, and sort of one thing led to another, and we ended up together. The funny story is that our grandparents knew each other very well.
Okay.
Our grandmothers were neighbors when our parents were in their teens, 10 years old, 8 years old, and they lived across the road from each other.
Okay.
And they were best friends.
Yeah.
And sort of parents lost contact over the years, and then ultimately the two of us ended up getting married, and it was very interesting.
So I mean, you're very economic with those level of details. I mean, just listening to what you said feels like it was facilitated.
No.
But I mean, so how did you really meet? Like when you said you're gonna take things to another level.
So that would have probably been around about 2001, 2002. We were starting up a business in Durban. My wife's from Durban.
Okay.
I'm a Pretoria boy.
Okay. Laudium?
Laudium.
Yeah.
Born and bred. And we were setting up a factory, or my dad was setting up a factory in Durban, and I was sort of assisting him with a few things.
Okay.
And I was there for a couple of weeks and just decided to give her a call. She popped into my head and gave her a call while I was in Durban. We started chatting and sort of hit it off, clicked. And
like what, ice cream or nightclub? Or how did you hit it?
No, definitely not nightclub, no. Just over the phone for a while, and then with the long distance thing, it was a little bit difficult to actually get to meet, but I ended up spending a bit more time in Durban, and then we met for coffee a couple of times, and yeah, sort of one thing led to another, and we hit it off.
You want to follow up? I see you like, you want more?
Yeah. I mean, what inspired the thought? Because it's like you were in Durban and then you just thought to phone her, or was there something that reminded you of her, or?
No, so after my cousin's wedding, we actually spent that December holiday after the wedding in Durban, in Umhlanga. And we were a whole group of us, probably about 8 or 10 of us about the same age. She was one of them, some friends of ours from Pretoria, some of them from Durban. And we sort of spent the whole December holiday around each other. And then when I had gone to Durban for the new factory that we were setting up there, I was staying in Umhlanga, and sort of took me back to the days that we spent in that December period over that holiday, and sort of felt, okay, maybe let me give her a call and see how she's doing.
Yeah.
She was sort of one of the only people I really knew in Durban. I didn't know too many other people in Durban at the time. And yeah, that's where it started.
Okay. And how do you guys spend time with each other now?
That's actually quite interesting. We're together a lot. She runs the finance side of her family business, which is based in Durban, but she does it from Pretoria.
Okay.
They don't have an office here, so she shares office space with me. So she's in my office on a daily basis.
But she's employed somewhere else.
She's employed elsewhere, yes. So she's got a little space in my office building that she uses. So we see each other on a daily basis at office as well as at home. Our kids have grown into their own little people and have got their own social lives, so that leaves us with a lot more free time. In fact, last night we were saying with school holidays about to start, we're probably not going to see much of them anymore into the next couple of weeks, because they disappear with their friends then, and it's no more at home studying and, you know, that sort of thing. So we end up spending a lot of time together. There's a lot of things we like doing together. We travel a lot. I love watching TV. We sit and watch a whole lot of things together. Dinners, lunches, you know, breakfast, that sort of thing.
She cooks.
She does cook, yes. Very good cook, actually.
Okay. I'm not going to ask
I see the smile.
You know, normally people, when they talk about their partners cooking, they always kind of rival them to their mother's food type of a thing. But we won't go there.
So I'm a little different. My palate's a little bit different from when I grew up. So I've sort of changed the style of eating that I follow, and I've actually always followed a little bit of a different palate compared to the rest of my siblings, which has made it a little bit more difficult for my mum and a little bit more difficult for my wife as well, I'm sure.
What do you eat?
Nothing spicy.
Okay, that's
and no rice.
Rice?
No rice. And that coming from an Indian home makes life very difficult for those that are cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Any reason why?
I've just never. Spicy food just doesn't agree with me. I've never enjoyed the taste of having my taste buds burnt off, and rice I've just never enjoyed as a dish. I prefer pasta or some other sort of starch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it makes my life a little bit easier. But both my mom and my wife are not happy people as a result.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine the many family meetings or events that you go to. There's a lot of spicy food.
Makes it a challenge.
That's
yes.
like, 10 left, because it's too hot. And go to something much more easier for you.
Yeah.
So let's go a little bit deeper, because
Sure.
you also mentioned that as many things that you are or do, that you are a co-founder.
Yes.
You founded the business with your dad?
Correct. So
Just you and your dad, or the other siblings involved?
So at the time, this is in 2001 when we started the business, 25 years ago. My dad was semi-retired. He had sold he was historically in the metal industry. So he was very into sort of engineering works and foundries and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And in around about 99, 2000, he'd sold off his South African stake in a business and was managing the marketing side of one of the other businesses remotely, and was sort of semi-retired. And I was at university studying towards my BCom finance degree, and I was getting up to mischief, and he was getting bored at home, and we needed to find something to do with our time that kept us out of trouble, or me out of trouble and him out of my mom's hair. And we decided to start a business together. We knew nothing about paper. We knew nothing about tissue. We knew nothing about FMCG whatsoever. We knew engineering. We knew equipment and machines. And we went my dad went and bought 2 machines. And that's how we started the business, without any other real insight into the industry at all. I remember when the machines arrived, I physically offloaded them from the trucks myself with forklifts, with rigging equipment, rolled up my sleeves and did what I needed to.
How did you feel?
It was exhilarating.
Okay.
I must be honest, as much as I'm an accountant and a finance graduate, I've always felt most comfortable with my arms elbow deep in grease in a
Hands,
machine.
yeah.
I've loved working with my hands my whole life. And I think that also comes from my dad. From a very young age, we got involved with tinkering with everything. And the first computer he ever bought me, the first thing I did with it was try to see what made it work and pulled it apart. So it cost a lot of money to get it repaired again. And then the next thing I did was try and see what software made it work and broke it that way.
Yeah.
And then he had it repaired again. And then with this massive warning that popped on the screen every time I switched it on, with my name in big bright letters, Ridwan, please do not do the following. And his IT person listed a whole lot of things that I shouldn't touch and shouldn't do. And that's where, we, from a young age, I always was interested in what made things tick. Until today, with a lot of the machines that we have, I'm able to break them apart, service them, rebuild them, run them if I needed to. And I have done that in the past as well. So in 2001, we started the business together. And then slowly but surely, I was still at varsity, running part of the business with him during the day, ducking out for lectures and going to campus and then coming back and doing more things at the factory.
Where, in Durban?
No, here in Pretoria.
Pretoria.
And when I finished in 2003, I finished my degree and my honors in accounting and then went on to do my articles. And when I left, my brother joined because he had just gone to varsity then.
So CA?
I'm a CA by qualification, yes. So then my brother joined a few years later. And then a few years after that, my sister joined us as well. And it's become a family business.
I mean, just a little bit of that roadmap. You go into a business that no one of you know about it and just figure it out. I mean, just give us a little bit of more details. I mean, how kind of those ups and downs of getting it to where it is today.
So that's the difficult part of the journey. Was learning the hard lessons that not everything you make can be sold 100% out easily.
But the good thing is, the tissue paper doesn't expire, right?
No, it doesn't. It does cost money to keep stock, though.
Yeah.
So you've got to manage things like cash flow and things like that. But we started, we always looked at the South African market from a tissue and paper perspective, and it was always dominated by two big players. There was the international giants, Kimberly-Clark, which was Kleenex in South Africa.
Yeah.
And then at that time was Nampak, which was the Twin Saver brand. And they were the two biggest producers in the country. And they made a very good quality product. But at the time, when I did the numbers and looked at it, it seemed a little bit expensive for what it was compared to what you could buy similar products for in China or the East or in Europe. And my dad always said that if we wanted to do another business, paper might be something that it's a consumable, people use it, it's not a durable product, it's replaced all the time. It's something that we should look into because it's an underserved market in South Africa. And when we started, we looked at many different things. If you look at the tissue paper at large, there's a number of subcategories within it, which is facial tissue, toilet paper, serviettes, pocket tissue, etc. And at the time, South Africa was going through this phase of there were a lot of toilet paper manufacturers that were making very cheap, very poor quality, substandard product that was mislabeled and misrepresented in terms of sheet count and what it was and things like that.
Yeah. Double ply, single ply.
Correct. Double ply, single ply, people lying about how many sheets.
Triple ply.
Triple ply doesn't quite work in South Africa very well, but that's a different story. But we didn't want to get into the market of fighting every person that had a little machine in his garage for a 5-cent profit on a roll. So we looked towards one of the other categories. And the one that we looked at, which was underserviced the most, was facial tissue, which had a decent enough volume, not as much competition from smaller players. And we thought that that's where our niche would be. And that's where we built our business off. We started in the facial tissue business with a machine that was probably 6 times the size of what we needed at the time from a production capacity point of view. But we always thought that if you have the capability, you could always fill the capacity. So even if you buy a bigger machine and you don't fill it up immediately, over time it gives you room to grow.
Grow into it, yeah.
Correct. And that's been our philosophy with every machine that we've bought since. But it was a long, hard road because we found it very difficult to compete with the likes of Kimberly-Clark and Nampak at the time. They had massive advertising budgets. They had very strong relationships with the retail chains, very strong presence and brand loyalty in South Africa, which we found difficult initially to break into. And then our first big break came with us getting awarded a contract for contract manufacturing. We were awarded a contract for making private label for one of the big retailers for a box of facial tissues. And that's where our start with contract manufacturing started. And from there, we slowly added more products to the range, different brands, different colors, different pack sizes, went out and got more private contract manufacturing contracts, and that's how we grew our business.
So you do toll manufacturing?
Yes.
How big is that as a percentage of your business?
In the beginning, it was quite a bit. We've dropped that percentage down to about 30% now.
Multi-nets or local?
No, mainly local. When you say local, you mean South African?
South African companies
South
that
African
manufacture for them.
Correct. South Africans. We do for 2 international companies as well. I'm not at liberty to disclose their names, but we do manufacture for them as well.
That's fine. We keep it discreet. And what's the ambition? I mean, is it better balanced, more 50-50, or it depends?
Look, I think with any business, it's never good to be too dependent on one revenue stream in your business. So it's good to have a balance. With contract manufacturing, the advantage that it gave us is that for many years, like I said, we had machines with way more capacity than we were able to fill with our own brand. With the contract manufacturing contracts that came along, it allowed us to fill the capacity, pay our overheads, grow our brand at the same time, and grow from there. So I think having a balance is always a good thing. I'm comfortable with where it is right now with a 30-70 split. I'm not opposed to new business. I don't think anyone in South Africa is, but I'm happy with trying to market and grow my own brand as well now.
So, I mean, from a capacity standpoint, where are you in terms of manufacturing? Would you say you're maxed?
No. So we've tried to never be at a position where we've maxed our capacity. We've always reinvested into the business in growing capacity. So we actually are probably about the 75% mark.
Well, 1 shift, 2 shifts?
So we run mainly 1 shift. We do 2 shifts when season dictates it. Okay. So typically, winter is a busy season for us. The December holidays are a busy season for us. Back to school is a busy season for us. So months leading up into that, we would then run double shifts. But generally, we try to run one shift on most production lines.
I mean, I've seen overseas there's a more movement play into wipes and facial wipes going into the cotton product, which is super luxe.
Correct. So,
but I mean, I don't think there's a play in South Africa for that.
No. So South Africa is still a very conservative market from a pricing point of view. If you looked at replacing facial tissue, which is a paper-based product, with something that's cotton-based, you're looking at probably a 4 times price increase. That would just kill your your sales volume completely. I don't think the South African market has the disposable income to, in a scalable way, accept that type of a product.
But probably talking about LSM 7 to 10, medically inclined, allergies involved.
Yes, there's definitely a play for that. But manufacturing the raw material that's required for it would have to then be imported. There aren't South African producers that make the cotton in the way and format that you would need to actually convert it into a facial tissue product. So that brings in its own challenge as well. Many years ago, 8 years ago, we actually undertook a backward integration of our production facility, and we started manufacturing our own paper. So we make paper from wood pulp. It just gives us a little bit more control on costs. Costs one thing, quality, consistency of supply, availability of supply, less dependence on imports, and how efficiently the ports are running or not, or how efficiently global shipping lines are running or not. At the moment, we're seeing a major disruption in global shipping lines. And then the same thing happened in COVID as well. So it just gave us a little bit more control over our raw material. That runs on a 24/7 basis. That's a totally different manufacturing setup from the converting side. A lot more involved, a lot more technical. And I think to replicate that type of setup that would accommodate something like cotton or more natural fiber, well, you can't really get more natural than wood pulp, but a softer fiber, cotton or silk or something of that sort, would be a tremendous exercise. And I don't think would be financially feasible in South Africa at this point in time to actually make that type of investment.
So maybe just one follow-up question, and Tsapi, you can chip in. Israel-Iran war.
Yes.
I feel it.
Yes.
Are you feeling it?
I think everybody's feeling it.
How are you feeling it?
So firstly, obviously, the biggest impact would be on logistics. The cost of logistics have already gone through the roof. That's just from a cost point of view. The other impact that we're feeling is that we're seeing a lot more delays in shipments of raw materials, chemicals, things that are used in the process
of manufacturing
product than actual impact on our bottom line per se. It's more the delays that are coming in. I think the full impact is still yet to be felt. I think we'll probably see that in the next 3 or 4 months when supply chains try to catch up, if, as they say, they've reached a truce or a deal. If that actually is true, I think it'll take 3 or 4 months.
Every day
there's a new story. Yeah.
I don't believe it.
And just touching on this macroeconomic external factors impacting the business, if we backtrack to COVID times, what was that like? I know a lot of people were bulk buying tissue. Did that impact your sales?
So yeah, sales went through the roof for the
positive way
for the first few months, and then we had no sales because people had 6 months worth of supply in their cupboards that they still were using. But COVID had its impact on us as well. COVID ran havoc with commodity prices globally. Now, tissue paper is made from wood pulp. Wood pulp is a commodity priced in dollars on a global exchange, which is subject to the same sort of factors, macroeconomic factors that you would have that would affect the oil price, gold price, etc. So the biggest impact that we had through COVID was dealing with the massive price fluctuations from one month to the next. That was probably the biggest impact, is managing those costs. How do you pass them on? Can you pass them on? Do you absorb some of it? Do you absorb all of it and wait for it to improve because it's a temporary blip on the radar? So those type of questions we needed to ask ourselves. From a supply point of view, I know there were many companies in South Africa that were without supply because of a shutdown globally of shipping lines. And pulp is one of those commodities that is imported in a large extent in South Africa, despite us having our own forests. I don't think we have sufficient supply here to cover the need. And some of it is imported from the likes of Brazil and Northern Europe and North America. And the mills that were dependent on those suppliers for product to come in were very badly affected in that there were shortages. So that probably led to the rumors in the market that there would be a shortage of toilet paper, which resulted in every housewife and their friend and their aunt and brother, sister, whoever, going and buying as much toilet paper as they could, was purely because of that. A funny story on that is that historically, in times of turmoil, toilet paper volume does actually spike.
Yeah.
So it's happened a couple of times in the past. And interestingly enough, the one during COVID started actually in Australia with a little rumor from some consumer journalist that made a statement that there was going to be a shortage and sort of spread like wildfire and went around the world where everybody was stockpiling toilet paper. I actually had people calling me, offering me double the value for toilet paper, looking to make a profit. To resell. People that were nowhere near the FMCG or toilet paper trade. I had people in the textile industry, toys distributors, drinks distributors phoning me to buy toilet paper because they saw an opportunity. And we as a business took a decision to say we will service our existing customer base at our normal price.
Yeah.
And look after our customers in a way that is sustainable, because it doesn't make sense to actually go and feed the craziness.
Yes.
Yeah. It just makes it worse. And I think we bought a lot of goodwill with our customers that way, that we were one of the few companies that actually continued supply at the same price, maintained supply throughout, and did not price gouge or hold back supply and give it to other avenues.
Sure, that's interesting. Okay. And then my other question is around consumer trends.
Yes.
As a tissue production company, are there any sort of interesting consumer trends that you track that are not obvious? So like I know disposable income is obvious, right? But like what else?
So there's a couple of different things. South African consumers are less adventurous than I would say European or US counterparts are. We like buying the same thing over and over again because it's tried and tested, and it's what my mum bought and her mum bought before her, and that's what we will continue to do.
Absolutely.
So to change a South African mindset from a consumer point of view is actually quite difficult. But a few years ago, we did something very interesting. We introduced a product in South Africa. We were the only manufacturers, and we still are the only manufacturers of it in SA. So in 2010, we launched a pocket tissue, which in South Africa was something that wasn't really on anybody's radar. It was something everybody did as a...
These are the small packs?
The small packs, the one that I walked in with.
Yeah. You can take it out.
That one.
Okay.
and it was something that people just filled the basket with. If you had a range of products, this was done in Europe. You launched it. It was imported. It was extremely expensive for what it was at the time, and it wasn't a big seller in SA. We sort of took a gamble. My dad made the decision, not me, to actually buy the machine and try and sell and market it in South Africa. And everybody we went to first were very, very negative about it because they didn't think the South African consumer would pick it up in a hurry. Yeah. And we persisted with it, and with a lot of support from the Shoprite Checkers group, actually, we launched it in South Africa with great success in 2010.
Oh, wow.
And launched it at a price that made financial sense in SA, was on equivalent quality or better quality than what was being available on the market at the time, and sort of introduced a new category or new subcategory into the group. And this now is one of the biggest sellers for our back-to-school promotional period, because it makes sense for a child to carry a little pack like this rather than a box or a big pack of tissues. So that's something that's quite interesting. We also find South Africans tend to always look for a good deal. So there's been a consistent move towards private label product. So especially now that there's a lot more confidence, I think the consumers have developed a confidence that the private label products that are being offered by the big retailers are not just a cheap, bad quality alternative to market leaders, but something of equivalent quality at a better value price.
Yeah.
And we see consumers moving towards buying more private label products than branded.
So you do have private label for Checkers?
We do for most of the retailers in South Africa, yes.
Checkers, Pick n Pay,
Yes.
Woolies.
Yes.
Okay.
Woolies, no. Pick n Pay, yes.
Why not?
Well, we haven't gone that route yet. Woolies have contracts with their current suppliers that they haven't looked at replacing as yet.
Okay, all right. Because the reason why I'm asking is I told you that I was kind of involved in have a shareholding in a bakery.
Yes.
Bread, products and all that. Woolies is always a very interesting kind of end user of products in terms of how they want to build a relationship. Like you deal with us only or type of a thing. But maybe it doesn't apply to the product type that you're dealing with.
Yeah, possibly.
But, they're kind of very difficult in terms of being very jealous. It's us and you and nobody else.
Look, we've approached them in the past, and at the time they were still I think had 2 or 3 years left on the contract that they had issued
with the
other supplier. I'm not sure who it was. They weren't instructive in a sense that if you made for us, you couldn't make for anyone else. So I haven't seen that side of it, but I haven't gotten into far enough discussions to actually have that subject broached at that time. I don't think that there's any of my private label customers that we've got an exclusive arrangement with.
Okay.
In terms of we can't make for anyone else. Yes, there are certain products that are exclusive to a particular retailer, but that's more as a result of their own internal R&D, advertising, promotional activity, etc. And then that obviously would then go exclusively to them. But I've never been dictated to per se that if I deal with X, I can't go and deal with Y as well.
Yeah, I think maybe it's just the product type.
Yeah.
That kind of.
Yeah, look, I think paper is fairly generic.
Nobody cares. But
correct.
if it's
as long as the quality is right, they're happy. Yeah.
And if we can talk a little bit about family dynamic within business.
Yes.
How has that been over the years?
So I think us having started the business from the bottom up together, we've all got a very strong passion towards its success. We've got a very good working relationship. Starting with my dad and I initially, and then my brother joining, and then my sister joining. My mom used to be part of the business as well. We've all worked very well together. We've got our own sort of areas of responsibility and expertise. But we sort of run the business by, for lack of a better term, consultation. So we have a daily meeting. It's not necessary for everyone to be there, but 10 a.m. every morning, there or thereabouts, we'll meet, we'll have a cup of coffee together. It doesn't need to be a very long one. It can be...
Who chairs the meeting?
It's actually quite informal, but we all are present.
But I mean, who really chairs? Because things can go a little bit out of, I've seen this before.
So generally, I would run the meeting.
Okay.
But like I said, it's quite informal. We run through events for the day, if I can put it to you that way, whether it be issues that need to be attended to, production issues, promotional activity, whatever the case may be. It's not a formal minute-taking type of structured meeting, but it's
mental memory. Yeah.
Besides mental memory, it's just so that we all running in the same direction, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we've got a good working relationship in that respect. We make decisions together. We sound ideas off each other. It's not anyone with the attitude of my way or the highway type of thing. But along with that, there's a lot of governance. We have a firm, written, signed, and agreed shareholders agreement. We have roles and responsibilities that we are held accountable for.
Your father is still involved in the business day to day?
He's involved in the business in a sense that we haven't given him any specific responsibilities. So he comes in and does what he wants. Anytime. He's there daily. He's there more than I am. He's one of those old school get up and go to work type of people. Doesn't have any intention of ever retiring. Has always told us that if we need him to retire, we need to tell him to do so. But we haven't reached that point yet. Hopefully we never do. But we've got this type of arrangement where he does a little bit of R&D, he does a little bit of troubleshooting, he does a little bit on the technical side, but nothing that requires him to be physically present every day so that work can carry on.
Okay.
In a sense that it gives him the freedom to be as involved or uninvolved as he wants to be, gives him that liberty to travel and do whatever other passions he may have. As I mentioned to you previously, he wrote a book last year. He needed time for that, so he took his time and did that as well. So he's involved in the business on a day-to-day basis. A typical day at the office for me would start with a walkthrough of the two different plants. It would be a brief meeting with management at both. Get to the office, emails, 10 o'clock meeting, and then deal with the rest of the day, whether it be meetings or other things that I need to take care of. But working with the family, and I must say, I think it's the same for my siblings. I think the biggest pleasure that we have is that we get to work with our dad every day. He's been an absolute inspiration for all of us.
Yeah.
And not only for us, for anyone that knows him. So that's actually something I don't say lightly, because I get told on a regular basis by random people that your dad inspired me to do this, and your father's been an inspiration for that. And so it's something I hear quite frequently. And I can actually attest to that it actually is one of the biggest pleasures, is getting to work with him on a daily basis.
Okay. And so the other day we spent time talking about work-life balance versus work-life integration. I guess in a family business,
There's no balance.
There's no balance. It seems like there's more integration if you guys are having daily check-ins, etc. Yeah.
So I don't think it's just a family business. I think in any entrepreneurial role, that would be the case. Being a business founder or a entrepreneur requires a certain level of passion, a certain level of dedication that can't easily be switched off.
Yeah.
And that line is very blurred between work and life and home life and whatever else. I always say that, my business is one of my babies as well. So there's a great deal of pride in seeing the successes, in seeing it do the things that it does, in growing, in employing more people, the new innovations, etc. And that doesn't become work anymore. If you enjoy what you're doing, you're not working. You're following a passion.
Yeah.
Right? So entrepreneurship is not something that goes hand in hand with work-life balance. Yes, you do need to find an off switch at some point, and you need to ground yourself in whatever gives you that peace. But I don't think there's that firm line to say 5 o'clock I switch off and that's now a family time, or it doesn't happen that way. Very frequently I work at night. I have a habit. Once the kids are off to bed, and my wife's off to bed, then I'll pull out my laptop and start working at 11 p.m. and switch off at 2, and then be back at work the next day at 8. So
I mean, just to follow up on that, because on this show we talk a lot about sleep, right? The person that we interviewed was a CEO of a healthcare business.
Yes.
And a doctor as well. He's lucky because he can take some sleeping tablets. How many hours of sleep do you do on a regular basis?
So you can see I actually do track my sleep and my health measurements.
So you're going to give accurate answers.
Accurate, yes. Whether they're actually any good or not, I don't know. But typically about 6 hours.
Okay.
I try for a bit more.
Doesn't work.
It doesn't quite get there, but there are days where you get a decent 7.5, 8 hours. I usually catch up on sleep on the weekends a little bit. I'm very much a homebody, so you won't find me out with my buddies on a Friday night or Saturday night till late hours. I'm very much a homely person.
Have you always been like this, or
always.
Just reduced?
Always, my whole life. I've got a few very close personal friends that I can spend time with, and but it's not something that I have to do on a weekly basis.
Okay. And just a follow-up question related to that. Now that you're talking about friends, work, and all that kind of a close space, any one person that you've maybe should have apologized to but never got a chance to apologize to because things just moved on and happened so fast and you didn't go back, kept moving? Anybody looking back?
I would like to say no. And if I think of it offhand, I can't really think of anyone in particular. I know when I did my articles at PwC, those were really tough days. More from a time consumption point of view. I mean, we worked 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, worked weekends. There was just never time for anyone else. So probably just my friends and family that I didn't spend time with during those 3.5 or 4 years.
So you didn't upset anybody or anything?
I certainly hope not. I've tried not to.
Okay, I guess if you remember, you'll let me know.
Look, I've definitely tried not to. Look, you always have things in your past that maybe brushed up the wrong way against someone, or unless it's something big, you're not gonna remember it, or whatever the case may be. But I can't think of anyone in particular that I'd like to There's a lot of people I need to thank.
Okay,
But to apologize, I can't really place my finger on anyone in particular. No.
I mean, as someone who has become a parent, we always ask each other as parents if whether or not you would advise your child to do what you're doing today. And what is so 2 questions. Would you encourage your children to pursue the entrepreneurial route? And
if they have a choice.
Yeah. Okay, because it's they gotta get into the family business. And
we all have choices. Whether they're easy ones or not is a different story.
You have a choice. You can run away.
And the second question is, what's the best lesson you've learned through this journey of entrepreneurship? And
So with regards to the kids, and like I said, my daughter just started with varsity now. My wife and I, my parents as well, have always encouraged us to follow what makes us happy, whatever that passion may be. Funny enough, mine growing up was to become a doctor. Never got there. Ended up as an entrepreneur. But I wouldn't force my kids in one direction or another. But if they were keen or inclined to become entrepreneurs, I would definitely encourage it because it's very rewarding.
Rewarding all around, or emotionally, financially?
Look, in all respects, for sure, entrepreneurship will teach you humility better than anything else. All right, so you can learn very hard life lessons very quickly as being an entrepreneur, especially when you start off young. You've got this vision as this fresh 20-year-old of how you're going to change the world and this, that, and the other. And then life comes and teaches you 1 or 2 lessons very early on. It is and can be difficult, but I think in the long run, being an entrepreneur or being a business owner or a founder or someone that builds something is very rewarding. From a financial point of view, yes, it can be. But from a personal achievement point of view, from a philanthropy point of view, from a freedom point of view, definitely very rewarding. I would encourage that for anyone that has the inclination and the stomach to be an entrepreneur. The second question was...
What's the best lesson you've learned from it?
Best lesson... I think probably, these sort of one-hit wonders in terms of doing things doesn't really achieve as much as people make them out to be. I'd say success is more often achieved by doing ordinary things consistently with excellence. Rather than trying to get that one big win or that one big hit that gets you the success. I think doing the small things, ordinary things, every day to the best of your ability with a full mindset of being the best at that particular thing on a day in, day out basis over a period of time would bring you more success than anything else.
Big bangs.
Yeah.
You eat here and there.
I think the consistency and resilience is 2 things that is inbred into every entrepreneur, and that's probably the biggest lesson.
Yeah.
So maybe from me, I don't know, from you, a question or 2, and then we close. The revenge moment.
Is this the revenge moment now?
That will come. 2 questions from me. One is, looking back, inflection point in your life where you said, from this point, actually, things started really looking clearer, better,
I can't say there was actually one point. It sort of happened in stages over time.
Gradually.
You sort of fill the shoes better over time, if I can put it to you that way. You know, as an entrepreneur, or as a business owner, you're constantly learning. Your mindset changes over time. As you grow, so does your view and outlook on the world. And I can't think of one particular inflection point where things sort of flicked a switch and changed. I think just over time, with that same sort of mindset of doing things with excellence, consistently, day in, day out, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me, is that, you know, consistency wins.
Endurance.
And yeah, definitely. You've got to be resilient, you've got to endure, and that's what brings the success.
What gives you hope right now? I mean, so many things are moving around. Israel, you know, Iran war, xenophobia, petrol prices doubling, winter is more colder than ever before.
I don't know if it is or it's just age catching up with us, but I'm with you on that one. Look, I think every generation have their doomsday moments and scenarios that they've got to deal with. It's happened for millennia. Every day in somebody else's life 100 years ago would have seemed like the end of the world. And I think that's just the human condition, you know. I think there's something, you know, naturally within us to actually have hope for the future, for better global situation, better economic situation, better family life, whatever the case may be. But I think the question is, how do we go about that being the change for ourselves and those around us? And I think a positive mindset goes a long way in getting you there. I'm not saying be blindly optimistic about everything. Be realistic. But there's always hope for something better for tomorrow.
It's a way out, yeah. I got this on my WhatsApp thing, kind of a quote to say the greatest thing about the future is it always starts tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like, you can always start again.
Yeah, look, I mean, we all have down days. We all have moments where we feel like we've lost hope. But I think it's always important to reground yourself, realign, take a moment, and look towards tomorrow and find a way to make it better for yourself and those around you. There's a positive attitude and leaving the world better today than I found it goes a long way in actually bringing hope to yourself and then to those around you as well. If I can have a positive impact on anyone today, hopefully that will carry forward to somebody else getting a positive impact tomorrow from that same person, and continuously goes on that way. Now, I firmly believe that we are, as human beings, never fully 100% developed, that we're a continuous work in progress, and that we're made up of little pieces of people and influence that come from our past, some more than others. It can be, think of it like a little set of Lego bricks, you know.
Yeah.
The biggest influences in your life would be the biggest parts of your foundation. And someone you bumped into at a coffee shop and smiled and said good morning to you this morning will be a tiny little Lego piece, but makes part of what you are and
better.
who you are better. And I think that's the way we all are, that we are little pieces of those that are around us and those that came across us before that makes us who we are today.
Wow.
Cool. I mean, as we transition into you being kind
In
of
the revenge
in the
mode.
revenge mode,
Uh-huh.
I kind of grew up reading The Economist, Harvard Business Review, and the line was always saying, you know, if America farts, we all share the aroma. I feel it now than ever because a lot of farts that very unpleasant, and we're sharing this bad aroma with the things that is impacting us indirectly.
Yeah.
But not to steal your thunder. This is your moment to revenge.
I'm not a vengeful person, so I don't really have anything from a.
You don't
from
have
a
questions?
I don't have anything that I need to
Ask us.
ask. Maybe one for her.
That's fine. I mean, I'm sure you've exhausted all the questions.
Actually,
for me.
let
You've
me
asked
ask you what does it?
He thought you were getting out of it.
No, look, I mean, I think I just wanted to say thank you for having me here. Like I said to you before the interview, it's not something I would typically do, but it's been a very interesting, enlightening experience for me, and a pleasure for meeting all of you today. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you for a little while. You were happy being here.
I think when you get me talking about things I'm passionate about, the happiness comes through.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of different to announcing the results of your business. It's more comfortable to that. Yeah, I can go ahead and ask a question.
I think she's got one more. No?
No,
Nothing.
no.
You're done.
I'm done.
Okay. So 2 kids.
Yes.
How's that going?
It's tough to juggle because I have 2 under 2, call it that. 2 at 2. I don't know what to call the exact 2-year age gap, but my oldest is 2.5 and my youngest is 7 months.
Yeah.
2 different genders, girl and then boy. And it's just very interesting. I always ask myself, like, whose children are you guys? Because they're very different. They are their own person, if I can put it that way. So it's very nice, but it's a hard.
That's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think I remember the days when my kids were a lot younger. And I always say this, that I was blessed with having my first child as a girl child.
Why?
Because it softened me. For some reason, it was just...
Were you rough?
No, I think it sort of brings out a different side in a guy.
Okay.
I don't know if it's the same for women, but for me...
Sound familiar, though.
That does it? Okay. It softens you.
You're welcome.
And then allowed me... through that, and I think allowed me to be a little bit softer with my boys as well. But I think, and my wife and I say this regularly now, that we miss the days when they were that young, because they grow up very quickly.
I do too.
And, regularly we'll see pictures of them when they were 2 and 1 and doing all sorts of silly things. And you sort of miss that, because they grow into their own people, with their own personalities and their own interests, and it's actually sad that time of their lives are not part of you anymore.
Yeah.
But enjoy it while you can. As difficult as it is at the moment, 2 under 2 is a lot. I think it could have been worse. Imagine if you had twins.
Yeah, it really could have. It really could have. But yeah, I'm definitely enjoying it as far as I can.
And then the second question, how does it feel? Why are you looking at her with such...
He's like, say the right thing.
The second question is, what's it like working with your dad?
Be honest.
It's good. But I always knew from afar that I think working with my dad would be quite challenging because of just how he is. I think when my dad was in corporate, he always brought that version of himself in every part of his life. So even with like managing Mother's Day, it was very much... Guys, very structured. Guys, Sippy, I'm handing over to you. It is your responsibility to take over Mother's Day. Give me an update on Thursday where we are. Have you bought the gift? Have you done this? You know what I mean? It was very project managey.
Okay.
And so that is how he is. He's a very structured person.
Still?
Still.
Okay.
But he's I think we all look at my dad now in this current area of his life, and we actually are like admiring where he is, because he's just like, it feels like he's living a good life. Like he gets to do off the clock. He's like this AI guru. He has time to, learn new things. He's writing a book. So he's just like in this element of like tapping into different things. So it's good. I think also just spending the time, like you were saying about your own dad, that really is such a benefit. You never get that time back. So I really appreciate it for that.
So listening to what you said, I think that's definitely a version of success. Hearing your daughter describe where you are now in your life would be some definition of success for you, for sure.
Yeah, look, mentally, I'm in a better place. I think having to spend this quality time with my children in a freestyle way, where I think there's no hierarchy. They're free to critique me and I give them feedback, no hard feelings. At this level of our lives, I think it's unique. A lot of people have told us that it's quite special. And success is not often defined in bank balance, right?
No, for
It's
sure.
the quality of life that we have.
Definitely. It's one of the aspects of what could be a definition of success, but there's many of them.
Yeah, so I feel successful in that respect.
No, I think you should. I think hearing your daughter describe you in your current state is definitely a definition of success. Because to see yourself through her eyes in that way should be success, in your view.
Yeah, I think, the previous person we interviewed asked the same kind of, not the same, but similar question about my son. Was the fact that they're so different also kind of give me that variety. And variety is good in the sense that my son can be very brutally honest when we interact. And often I realize he doesn't like it when I'm brutally honest to him. But he's improving that slowly,
Like I said, we're all works in progress all the time. Yeah?
Exactly. But I think not taking it for granted that you can have that. But I've told them again and again that I miss the time when they were small.
Yeah.
And they used to think I'm Tiger Woods. I can't get anything wrong. I'll come home, they were like, Daddy, like really happy to see me. And we had those family rituals when they were small. Like Wednesday nights, 8 o'clock was WW SmackDown. We watch it together.
Okay.
And do all those things. And I miss that a lot. And those moments, they go very fast. Like before you know, you're like, no, I'm in my room. No disturb sign. Like, they don't put a sign, but you get it.
The door's closed.
So, I try to enjoy it while it lasts. I'm making it everlasting by doing something like this with them.
Fantastic.
Just as you said, I think again and again today that every moment is educational. You don't stop learning. And I think we're doing that.
No, definitely. Lovely. So, wonderful to have met both of you.
So, thank you very much. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. You don't have to say it. I can see it.
No, I did.